Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today, before we get into those undrafted free agents, go ahead and ask me a mailbag question down below using the hashtag 49ers. Get it in a comment, and that way, you can possibly be on one of two mailbag videos coming up later on this week. So again, you got a 49er related question, want to ask about the draft, other free agents, want to ask about the offseason, anything in the world of our 49ers, go ahead and scroll down below and leave me a comment using the hashtag 49ers right now on this video. That way I can answer them in a mailbag later on. Without further ado though, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so the draft might be over, but the 49ers are still trying to go ahead and improve their roster, and they're doing that via undrafted free agents. There's a pretty decent-sized list here, and a lot of guys, I think, who might make the actual roster, starting with JaMycal Hasty, the running back out of Baylor. Yes, of course, Baylor. Thomas, you're a Baylor homer. You went there. Of course you love JaMycal Hasty. Well, the 49ers must like him, too, because they gave him a decent amount in terms of a signing bonus whenever they went ahead and added him on their undrafted free agent roster. He's fifth-year senior at Baylor, played a lot of snaps for the Bears, and with the 49ers trading Matt Breida, doesn't necessarily open up the running back spot in terms of, oh, Hasty's easily got a roster spot, but it's one less back in the backfield to go ahead and share those carries. And Hasty's really that short yardage, third down running back who has a big-time burst of speed when he gets through the line, and also is built low to the ground, is very, very powerful with his legs. I think Hasty could be a very real option for the 49ers in terms of maybe a practice squad running back, and then maybe if McKinnon doesn't work out, or maybe Jeff Wilson Jr. takes a step back, I think I could see JaMycal Hasty making the roster and towards in terms of after training camp and towards the end. A hard player who's played a lot in terms of snaps at Baylor, and makes a lot of sense with Matt Breida going ahead and being let go. I think Hasty really could make the team. Another running back, and they got two of them. Salvon Ahmed, the running back out of Washington, is another one to add here. Only a one-year starter at Washington, so not as many snaps as you'd say as JaMycal Hasty, but a very good production last year. 1,000 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns on the ground. And even though, like we just said, it's going to be a crowded running back room, I do feel like at least one of these two will probably make the roster, or at least make the practice squad, and they could kind of, swap back and forth depending on injuries, because we know, listen, running backs get injured all the time. Jerick McKinnon's knee could be a problem. Who knows how it's going to work out. The stats to compare, though, are interesting in terms of 2019. Hasty did have less carries and less touchdowns, as you see on your screen right there. Ahmed did have the 1,000 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns, but overall, I think both of them, either one of them, really could go ahead and make the 49ers roster, because that depth chart is so interesting regarding San Francisco. We know who the top guys are. The question is going to be who's going to fill the backside of that running back roster, and maybe one of these two guys can be that person. Now, you guys like the 49ers draft? Quick ad break here on YouTube. I want to give you guys time to comment going back to the actual draft picks. Not many draft picks, but some very, very good ones. We talked about them here on the 49ers Report. Type Y down below for yes if you did like the 49er draft. Type N down below if you're a hater and you don't like the 49er draft. I think all of you guys, because there's like 20,000 of you that have watched this video, should be typing Y in the comment section right now, because most of you, I'd argue, did like the 49ers draft. All right, moving on. More undrafted free agents. How about Brock Ruder, the quarterback out of North Central? You say, wait a second, North Central. Thomas, is that a D3 school? It is a D3 school. Brock was a 4-year starter at North Central. He won the top individual award for D3 football, so he's probably the best player in D3 football. Had 44 games with 200-plus yards passing. That was a D3 record, so the 49ers have their quarterback of the future, right? Well, probably not. Listen, it's probably very hard for Mr. Brock, despite his 56 career touchdowns, to go ahead and make the 49ers final roster, because the 49ers depth chart is already so loaded with with Nick Mullins, and obviously the loaded crowd there as well. I'm thinking C.J. Beathard. I blanked on C.J. Beathard's name. Anyway, Garoppolo, Mullins, and Beathard, the three quarterbacks on the Niner roster. Now, they trade one during training camp. Another injury for a different team. They trade one. Maybe that's why you bring in a guy like Brock, although D3, how does that transition to the National Football League? Would be very, very interesting. Josh Hokett is next, the running back out of Fresno State, an NCAA All-American in wrestling last year. I said running back, but he's really basically a fullback, and is built in the Kyle Juszczyk mold, really. 303 career carries at Fresno State. Juszczyk, of course, got a new contract just a couple of months ago, but is he going to be there forever? No, because fullbacks that don't necessarily have the longest shelf life in the National Football League, so you can kind of see their thinking here. Bring in Josh, bring in a fullback, maybe he can learn from Juszczyk, and who knows, be a practice squad guy and be the fullback of the future for our 49ers. I mentioned those draft picks that we had that were really, really good, that you should have typed Y on down below. Listen, you want to get a new Javon Kinlaw jersey? Yeah, I mean, when that looks sweet, then you want to get a brand new Brandon Aiyuk jersey? Yeah, it looks sweet too. You can go ahead and get one at chatsports.com/49ers1. The link is in the description. You see them right here all authentic, all the real deal. It's the Nike stuff. It's exactly what you would get, obviously, if you were at the pro shop in Levi's Stadium. So if you want to get a brand new 49ers rookie draft jersey, go ahead and pick one up at chatsports.com/49ers1. Moving on, got a wide receiver here, and Chris Finke, the wide receiver out of Notre Dame, who was a 0-star recruit out of high school and eventually turned into a really good slot receiver for the Fighting Irish. And with the 49ers trading Marquise Goodwin to Philadelphia, maybe you need another wide receiver on that spot, although I'd argue the 49ers wide receiving core is looking pretty good right now, and despite the fact that Chris was a pretty good slot receiver at Notre Dame, I think the 49ers, again, receiving core with Hurts now, or sorry, not with Jalen Hurts, obviously, I'm blanking right now, again, with Deebo Samuel, with Jalen Hurd, not Hurts, Jalen Hurd, the wide receiver out of Baylor. His back is supposed to be pretty much fully healthy, obviously drafted Brandon Aiyuk, and then we'll see what Pettis can do, Trent Taylor. I think the wide receiver core looks pretty good right now for our 49ers. It's also looking good for the new subscribers we have here on the channel, as we had a bunch of new ones over the draft, so welcome. But if you have not subscribed to 49ers Report, go ahead and click that big red subscribe button. We're approaching 22,000 subs here, which is unbelievable. I promise, it's the best 49er content here on YouTube. So again, big red button down below, click that way you're ready to go whenever we drop a brand new video, as we do multiple times a week here on the 49ers Report. All right, how about a tight end? Chase Harrell, tight end out of Arkansas, who was a wide receiver at Kansas before transferring to Arkansas, but he only caught 7 passes in the past 2 seasons there. So you're probably wondering, Thomas, what's the 49er thinking here? Well, he apparently ran defensive end drills at his pro day, and so the 49ers are going to try to work him out as a potential defensive end project. 49ers defensive end coach is hoping that maybe with a little bit of reps here and a little bit of reps there and training from Bosa and Ford and working alongside the guys, maybe Harrell can turn out to be a defensive end. Now, a lot of people thought tight end, obviously, because that's what he was in college. When I hear the word tight end, all I can think about is when is George Kittle's tight end extension contract going to actually come out? Hopefully sooner rather than later, as Kittle has still not been extended, and we thought that they would go ahead and extend that before the draft, and yet here we are. Post-draft, though, what is the biggest need the 49ers still have? Do they still have a big need? I was reading comments on a video I did a couple of days ago, last night. A lot of people still said we should have gotten a cornerback because Richard Sherman, there was one quote saying he was slow AF. I don't know if that's true, but apparently a lot of you guys think we still need a corner. So is that the 49ers' biggest need following the draft? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know in the comment section down below. A couple more undrafted free agents here. Darian Daniels, defensive lineman out of Nebraska. He started his career at Oklahoma State. Big shout out to Dylan for producing this episode. He's a poke. I'm a Bear, so I'm not a big fan of the whole pistols firing there at Oklahoma State, but I digress. Starts his career at Oklahoma State. Grad transfer at Nebraska, mainly a nose tackle, though, and an honorable mention in terms of the Big Ten. And with, losing essentially to Forrest Buckner, despite drafting Javon Kinlaw, you could still make a case you could use another defensive lineman on this roster. Will he make the roster? I think Daniels has a rough road ahead. If I was a defensive lineman going into this defensive line group, this depth chart, I'd be a little worried about a chance to go ahead and make the roster because we are just that stacked there on the defensive line. Jonas Griffin, I should say, linebacker out of Indiana State, 382 tackles in his 4-year career there. He can play both inside and outside at linebacker, but his best shot at making the team obviously is going to be on special teams because the 49ers linebacker core, in my opinion, is probably one of the best in the entire National Football League. I mean, they are absolutely loaded at linebacker, and obviously not going to trade Quan Alexander. That was a dumb rumor we heard before the draft. Fred Warner, still one of the best inside linebackers in football. He can run, he can tackle, he can do everything. And obviously, Dre Greenlaw last year played very, very well during his rookie season. So I think it's going to be tough for a linebacker to make an actual start or an actual contributions at linebacker. But Griffith can go ahead and probably be a special teams guy and running down to go ahead and tackle the opposing kick returners during kick return and special teams as well. Who's your favorite undrafted free agent rookie signing so far? Who's your favorite guy that I've mentioned up to this point? I like JaMycal Hasty, but I'm a little bit biased. So if you guys have a favorite who might actually make the roster, give me a comment down below. A couple more here. We have DeMarkus Acy, the cornerback out of Missouri, who honestly, a 3-year starter at Missouri, was not invited to the NFL Combine, and I guess that's because his stats kind of slipped during his senior year, but no one threw to his side during his senior year because he was that good. He was the Missouri shutdown corner. So if you were out there going, why didn't we get a cornerback in the draft? Maybe Acy can kind of go ahead and be that guy out of Missouri. And if it's not him, then Jared Mayden, the defensive back out of Alabama, was also an undrafted free agent. Maybe he's an option there as well. He led Alabama with 4 interceptions in 2019, played primarily in the slot, but again, was not invited to the NFL Combine despite his 59 tackles, the 4 interceptions, the 3 pass breakups. I think Mayden, has a real chance to go ahead and make the 49ers roster as we get closer and closer to the offseason program. Hopefully they happen, training camp, so on and so forth. All right, give me a grade on the 49ers 2020 undrafted free agent class. Is it an A? Is it a B, C, D, F? How do you guys feel about it? I feel pretty good. I mean, B+, I think. And if you want to recap the entire list to refresh your memory before you give me your grade. Hasty, Ahmed, Reuter, Hokit, Finke, Harrell, Daniels, Griffin, Acy, and Mayden are the guys you see there on your screen right now. Got them all. And again, they can sign more people over the coming days and weeks. And so if you see, oh my gosh, Thomas, you left this guy out. Well, they probably signed him after I shot this video. So undrafted free agents will come and go, and hopefully 1 or 2 of them makes the team, and 1 or 2 of them becomes one of those, unsung heroes of the 49ers who was undrafted and proved himself later on in his NFL career. All the time we have for today. For the 49ers Report, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.